let's go ahead and get this show on the road. Okay, that's bright. That light is killing me. There, that should do it. Yeah, I've got this light that I use for my table that whenever I look up at the camera or the chat, it like blinds me, like, because normally I'm not looking up there. Normally I'm looking down here, painting, doing my good old thing, you know. But when I have to look up, that's why this, just a brim, a baseball or anything, is super helpful. All right, guys. Hello again, everybody. This is Derek, and I am coming at you with another Wargaming Weekly. All right, if you've never been to any of my Wargaming Weeklies, what these are approximately once a week or so, I will sit down with you guys and paint while we chit-chat on chat or whatever. And then I'll just kind of say whatever comes to mind. Or you know, sometimes I have an agenda that I want, you know, a script that I want to share with you, and sometimes I don't. Sometimes it's all just off the cuff. I don't know how long I'll have today to be live with you guys, because I personally don't like going live when there's a lot of activity in the house. It's distracting to me, and sometimes I have to get up and go do something, or there's some talking in the background, or even the washing machine sometimes, you know, or whatever. If there's some activity in the house, I don't like streaming at those times. But right now, the house is empty, and we are free to paint to our heart's content and stream without interruptions. Okay, I am expecting a shipment in the next few minutes, hours, days. No, it should all be today. Plastic Soldier Company order should be coming in today. Ooh, that's hot. Okay, so that is some tea. What is that? Alpine apple cider. Not tea. It's Alpine apple cider. It's hot and it's delicious, but I haven't taken a sip of it yet. Also, I don't know if you noticed, but I also keep a monster at hand just in case. All right. So if you haven't watched my store news update, I've got that. It went up live this morning. But in that, I talked about how I have started working on these. Let's go ahead and switch my glasses to my painting spectacles. I don't use these for anything other than just painting at the table, because they're too much like Coke bottles. Right. Also, you might notice that I've got a Band-Aid on my fingertip, and I've got some regular tape. Mainly that regular tape is to hold the Band-Aid in place, because with all the activity, painting and beating off and all that, the Band-Aid is coming off from time to time. So I put a little layer of just standard tape, like, you know, like Urkel and his glasses or whatever. This helps prevent the Band-Aid from coming undone. Now, why do you say, Mr. Everything, or Derek, why do you have a Band-Aid? Well, there's a blister there. It's not popped or anything, and it hasn't, like, it hasn't developed like a pus bubble or it hasn't grown or anything like that. But I could tell just, just from feeling things that it was starting to get really sore, and kind of I was noticing it was getting a little hard as well. Not calloused, but yeah, it was getting hard. Um, and I'm noticing this fingertip is also doing the same thing. And it started right after I boxed up. And this happened once, maybe 6 months ago. Um, so this is the second time it's happening. Uh, I would have this large order that I would have to ship out of painted miniatures. And I will individually wrap these painted miniatures in bubble wrap. And what I normally do is I cut strips of bubble wrap out of the, because they come in big sheets or whatever. Like I cut them into strips, and then I take the bubble wrap and I wrap it around the figure. And this, I noticed that by doing this motion around the figure, because I do it like 3 times, 2 or 3 times, the bubble wrap will rub against my finger, which is not that big of a deal, right? I mean, it just done. And then I do another miniature, done. But when you're doing 100, 200 models like that, it's like a friction burn, if that makes sense. So basically, I put that on there to alleviate. It doesn't hurt or anything. It's just, well, it does hurt if I push on it like really hard, but mainly so it doesn't get worse. I'm going to let it heal. But it's internal, it's under the skin, so there's not like I need any medicine or anything. And I'm not going to pop it and expose it to the, but it doesn't need to be popped because there's no pus or anything. There's no like, no like blister. It hasn't developed into a, your traditional blister. Okay, we're doing flesh. My point was, I was starting it and then I went off on a tangent. If you come to my news updates, which I just uploaded one this morning, you notice that I started work on these, and I talked about it ever so briefly, but they were primed brown. I think the reason why I started talking on these was because I was showing off that I got a new, because I always show off like what supplies I got in for model working and stuff like that. And I showed off that I got another roll of 3M. Actually, I got 2 more rolls of these. My other rolls I haven't used all the other rolls, but I just wanted to get those ahead of time so that I didn't run out. I bought a Chinese made, I think it's Chinese made, double-sided phone tape, which works great. Don't get me wrong. I'm pleased with it. It's just not the kind of double-sided tape. And what I mean by that is the 3M double-sided tape is probably 2 millimeters thick, maybe? I don't know. Does it say? I wonder if it says. Well, it tells me how long it is and how wide it is, but not how thick it is. And, well, I would say it's probably 2 millimeters thick. The Chinese one was about 1 millimeter thick. And what it wound up doing was being too thin. It held its own, it things stuck to it, um, which that's what you want. But the models tended to move around, or they acted like they were loose. You could press down on them and they would stick right back to it, but they came undone too easily. And well, not too easily. They came undone, and you had to kind of press them back into place. And then when you go to, and then on the flip side, when you go to remove them, because that's what I did with all my foot companions. When you go to remove them, they tear. Uh, I'm not saying the 3M doesn't also tear, but it it tears less frequently. It's I just got so frustrated with it tearing every time. I just said, screw it. I'm just going to rip the models off and let it tear and say, F it. And so, so I did. So I'm going to, and they're also super sticky on the side. So I plan to take those and set them on the shelf and use them as a last resort, or for other projects if I get any other projects that need double-sided tape. Like if I was putting posters on the wall or something, which I'm not. But cheaper? Man, not really. Maybe a little bit cheaper. Maybe that's why I went with them, you know. But as the old saying goes, you get what you pay for. Okay, I thought this was going to go a lot faster. I could just sit here and go, but I'm not doing that. I'm trying to use a little finesse on these arms because I don't want to paint the tunics that I've already painted. A lot of times I will paint the flesh first, and I will use broad strokes, and it will go super fast because it's usually like one of the first colors, and then you can just paint over it. You know, like if I needed to paint the tunic, I could paint that afterwards. Well, this time I decided to paint the tunics first and then hold the flesh till after all the tunics were painted. So what that means is I just have to use a little bit more finesse when it comes to their shoulders and when it's like laid across their body and stuff. Okay, so I'm a little upset with these bags of figures. Mainly they're the Balearic Slingers and the Cretan Archers. They come in odd numbers. It's like 12 archers and 9 slingers, or vice versa. Yeah, I think that's what it was. And I can't do a battle group with those numbers. Um, well, technically the 12, I can do a battle group of 6 because remember they are 2 figures per base. So I could do 6 bases. which is a legal battle group in Meg at the Maximus scale. But that's a minimum. That's a minimum battle group, and I wanted to do or have I not only did I want, but I um, not only do I want for the army on the table, but I also wanted for my shelf the maximum, which is 9. And to have 9, you have to have 18 figures in the battle group. Okay, so I touched on this just for a second at the beginning. I primed these with dark brown. Actually, it's a Krylon camouflage brown. It's not black. You might look black, but it's not. Very close to like a burnt umber or a walnut or something. It's super dark. And then what I did was, because these were Macedonians, and I knew that they were going to be wearing bright tunics, not and when I say bright, I mean colors that require an undercoat of something other than black, like yellows and reds and blues. Not so much the reds, because if I want like a dark, deep imperial red, I can prime that over. I mean, I can paint that over a dark color. But if I want a bright, vibrant, scarlet red, you can't really do that without doing multiple coats on top of a dark primer. So I went ahead and I dry brushed these with white. And so a lot of the raised areas are white, and a lot of the dark areas, the sunken areas, are still the dark brown. And so when I painted the purples and the pinks and the yellows, they went on really well. The raised areas were very bright, and the sunken areas are very dark, which is exactly what you want. Exactly what you want in a miniature. Okay, so as you know, I've been working on my, or I had been working on my Republican Romans. I based them according to Field of Glory, which is okay in Meg. That's not an area that is like a violation or anything, but it's just not the approved set of because the way Meg works is you can use any basing as long as every army is still using the same basing, right? But when you go through the rules, they specifically have a basing convention that they use for their figures. You don't have to adopt them. You can just play with your Field of Glory bases or whatever. That's perfectly fine. It's just that because I don't have any Field of Glory armies, I've stopped playing Field of Glory probably, I'm going to say almost 10 years ago now. I still have some of the Field of Glory books, like the rule book. I have Immortal Fire, Rise of Rome, Storm of Arrows, because those are the periods that I'm interested in when it comes to ancient wargaming. Immortal Fire is the Greek area, period, with the ancient Greeks, your Achaemenid Persians, and your Macedonians, and who else, like Spartans, and those kind of armies, right? And then your Rise of Rome is, mid-Republican, late Republican Romans. Not the Imperial Romans. That is actually Clash of Eagles or something like that. I don't remember, but it's another book. And which I'm not really interested in Imperial Rome. I'm interested in the Republican Roman armies with Caesar and Scipio and all those guys. Hannibal, and in the mid-Republicans, and then in the late Republicans, more like Vercingetorix and them there dudes. So like the German conquest, maybe the oh shoot, Illyria and Macedonia. Because the mid-Republicans did clash with the Macedonians. They also had like their own civil war and stuff like that, and so 2 Roman armies would be really cool. And then finally, the Storm of Arrows, which is the medieval 100 Years' War type period, with the Burgundians and the English and the French. That is, those are the periods that I'm most interested in. And but I don't have any. But I don't have any armies. I had armies, like maybe 2 armies, 3 armies. I don't remember. I had a Roman army. I had a English longbows and stuff like that. I think those are the only 2 armies that I made for Field of Glory. And the only battles that I played was kind of a show my friends how to play. And it was with those armies going against each other. And boy, could you tell the difference. The English army was just way too powerful. When it came to fighting the Romans. Romans just couldn't deal with those longbows. And the super heavy armor and all that, so. Of the men at arms. The cavalry and all. Basically, it was just a higher technological army, which you would expect that to be the case. But that's not what disenfranchised me. That actually helped me out quite a bit on understanding the capabilities of my armies and stuff like that. But when I went to a convention, a big convention. What's it called? Historicon. You guys probably have heard of it. It was up in Philadelphia. My friends and I, we went up there with no assumptions, no armies in our pockets. We brought some tape measures and dice just in case, but it was not I'm bringing an army, I'm going to join a tournament and spend the entire weekend playing this one game. We wanted to see the whole convention. We wanted to play a variety of different games. Maybe play some games we don't normally play. That kind of stuff. We didn't want to lock ourselves down to a specific tournament. Why do you go to this is something that's always baffled me. Why do you go to a convention to play in a tournament? There should be specific events separate from the convention that are tournament style events that you can go to participate in the tournament, not with the distraction of a full-on convention, right? That's just me. But I saw that there was a Field of Glory tournament being held, and I said, you know what, guys, I'm going to go down there and spend a session, which is about 4 hours usually. I said, I'm going to spend a session down there watching some games, learning from the masters, that kind of stuff. So I went down there and watched some games, and I came away from that experience knowing that I was going to sell my Field of Glory books. Because Field of Glory, and this is one reason why I got into Field of Glory, because I was hoping it was different than the WRG groups, the DBA or DBM, DBX. I had problems with those groups, not individually, like, man, I got a problem with you. No, not that. The mentality, philosophy of those players, not the game, the players disenfranchised me from those games. And the reason why Armadi didn't do that to me. Armadi was very, it was different. Armadi was, because I played Armadi, and then when Armadi 2 came out, I joined, I got Armadi 2 and kind of switched over to that rule set, which was disappointing. Armadi 1 was a better rule set than Armadi 2. I thought it was going to be an improvement, or fix some of the clarifications or whatever, but it wasn't. It was we're going to change this rule. We're going to change this rule, and so it became a totally different game, which you could still recognize it as Armadi, but the mechanics of the game changed. But what I'm trying to get at, and bear with me, guys. Oh wait, we got a chat. Hold on. Sorry, I looked up and I saw we has a chat. And look at this. I got to take my time to switch my glasses, and Johansen Cabine. Hey, Mr. E, really enjoyed the Xenonauts playthrough. Thumbs up. Hey, thanks. Am I saying it right? Johansen. I want to let you know, I haven't uploaded it yet, but I have a couple of videos in the pipe. They're ready to be edited and uploaded, and one of them, the game ends. It just, and don't. This is not a spoiler. It gets to a point where the game puts a big message on the screen, and you'll see it probably in one of the upcoming videos. It says, "You've reached the end of the game. More to come," because they're still in production, right? It's an early access kind of game. They said, "We don't have anything beyond this point." And then it says, "Do you want to continue?" I'm like, why did this pop-up come up? If then you're going to tell me I can continue. But what they're saying, what they said is, you're not going to encounter any new spacecraft. You're not going to encounter any new aliens that haven't already been in the game. So to me, that's okay. And that there's a that I now know there's a finite number of aliens, but I also know that as production continues, they're going to be adding new ships and new aliens and stuff like that. So basically, after a certain point, I might have to just kind of shelf it and then come back to it after a major update or something like that. But as soon as I hit yes, continue, I went into my research, and I haven't researched everything, right? Because I still have a ton of things that need to be researched, and I need to learn what those things can do. So don't worry, I'm not stopping the game anytime soon. Well, maybe it's soon, depending on your definition of soon. But I'm going to at least go through all of the technology trees that I can go through, and learn, as much as I can. Because this might be a spoiler, so I'm not going to say anything, but there was a technology that popped up that I said, oh my gosh, I got to get. And if you remember, this is my second attempt at playing Xenonauts. In my first attempt, I got almost 200 days in, almost the exact same number of days in. And I said, you know what, I'm going to just start over from a fresh perspective, knowing how the game works and everything. And that's where the second attempt is coming from. It's not that I failed the first attempt. It's just that I wanted a refresh. And so the in that first playthrough, though, there was a technology I developed that I did not develop in the second playthrough. And that was my lasers. I developed the ammo clip for the laser that recharges itself. So as long as you've got the clip in the gun, you'll never run out of ammo. Ever. Well, you'll get to 0, but then on your next turn you'll have more ammo. Because the magazine recharges. I don't have that in this second playthrough. I don't know if I did some research in the first playthrough that I didn't do in the second one, or if there's a tech tree that I have to do a certain thing before another thing before that'll appear, or what. So I'm not doing any research like going onto the forums, or I don't want any spoilers like that, right? I want to kind of learn it and discover it on my own. I have a feeling it has something to do with the aluminum batteries and stuff like that. And I also don't have the super heavy armor that I had in the first game either. In the first game, I developed the servos, which it looks like I can now build those in this version. But yeah, the technologies didn't come at the same time, or they didn't come at all, So So I want to continue playing. I have a feeling that there are aliens or missions out there that I haven't played in either the first or the second game. It's just that the game has a cutoff switch at 200 days where it just says, oh, you reached 200 days, you're done. You know, which I haven't lost the game. The panic level hasn't gotten too large, you know. So I'm going to continue on with at least doing all my research. And thank you for watching those, and I'm glad you're enjoying them. I am definitely enjoying them. Would I classify Xenonauts as one of my top 10 games of all time? No, I would not. The top 3 games in this genre, you know, the alien invasion, I don't even think it's in my top 3. Um, One of my favorites is Phoenix Point. I don't know if you've ever seen that game or played it or whatever. It has a lot of really cool ideas in the game, mechanically. Storyline, I can kind of almost do a little bit without, but mechanically, tactically, and strategically, it has some really cool ideas. The My second in that genre would be the XCOM series from Firaxis. XCOM 1, Enemy Within, XCOM 2, War of the Chosen. All of those I feel are all the same game. They're just got different skins and story and stuff like that. So I consider that to be my number 2. And my number 3 is another game that you might or might not have ever heard of. It's called UFO. There are 3 UFO games. What did I just do? I just goofed. Okay, hold on. I can fix this. Luckily, the colors are so similar, and a wash is going to fix that. Yeah, it just looks like... Okay, there you go. It's gone now. It just looked like a little shadow. But, UFO. It was UFO Aftermath, UFO Afterlight, and UFO After something else. I don't remember what the other one was. But they were Aftershock, I think, was the last one. Yeah, Aftershock. Those games had a those games are really good. If you like Xenonauts, you should definitely check out the UFO series. You might not be able to find it anywhere. I might have to look on Steam. I have it a physical copy, CD. That tells you how old it is. But I have a CD. But it's the graphics are as good, if not better, than Xenonauts. And It's kind of like a move point system kind of game, if I remember right. There's base building, base assaults. You know, it's very Xenonauts like. It has a different story to it too. Um, it reminds me of Mass Effect in a way. Um, not the story or anything, but like you play the entire game, right? You get to the end. I'm talking about number one, and this is not a spoiler. I don't I don't think. Well, this game's been out for 100 years, so it shouldn't be a spoiler. But uh, you play the entire game. You get to the end of the game and you win, or you lose. So you win or lose, and you're like, "Yay, I won! Let's go grab number two. Let's start number two." And so you start number two, and the first thing it says is, "After losing the war, this is what happened." What? I won. It's kind of like XCOM did to you, right? XCOM 1, you play through, you defeat the aliens, you win, and then you go into XCOM 2 and you've lost. And the world is under their jurisdiction or whatever. I don't know if Firaxis got that idea from UFO because UFO is older than the Firaxis XCOMs. But that's what happens. Which I guess it thematically or story wise, it lends towards more like, okay, we've got to save the world. You know, the first one you have to save the world because it's an invasion. But if you lose, you've got to do it from the shadows, or without all the resources and support of all the governments and stuff like that. So it kind of adds a challenge to the player, and I'm okay with that. And then after Shock, if I remember right, I think you win and you started expanding to like a moon base or something like that. I'm trying to remember. And then from this moon base, you go back to Earth or something. I don't remember. It's been a long time, but I would say it's in my top three. That might also be nostalgia. Just looking back at good times. Okay, so I was talking about these my armies, right? I was gonna do a Marian Roman, or if you would like to call it a Caesarian Roman army for Meg next. Uh, but I might not. I might continue on with my Republicans, rebasing them to the proper bases, and then just fleshing them out. Because, and I thought about this, the mid Republicans do fight against the Macedonians. The late Republicans, not late Republicans, I guess they are late, they're kind of later Republicans. The Marian reforms. I don't think they fight up against the Macedonians. I don't think. Okay, there's another chat up there on the screen. He says he's happy to tag along. Well, you're welcome to join us, and tag along. I think you'll. I'll just try to make it. I'll try not to. I'll try not to ruin it. I know I won't, but. Okay, so tonight, off camera, I'm going to be meeting with some players for my Harn campaign. You might or might not have noticed that I put out a call for players to join our campaign. I had a number of people message me. A couple of them I am worried about. And usually my first impressions are correct. Usually. So I might accept them into the group or not, because after tonight's meeting with them, because basically I want to get to know them, I want to talk to them, hear what they have to say, tell them what I expect, and see what they have to say about that, to see if that's copacetic or if they would accept that or not. Because if they don't, then they can move on or whatever, that's fine. And then if they're kind of like jerkish, then I might have to tell them that they can move on or whatever. But basically I just want to, talk to them and chit chat and stuff. But if you've ever ran a role-playing game before, you want to make sure that your players gel. You don't want to, especially if it's an ongoing game. If it's just an overnight, one-off game, it doesn't really matter, because they're never going to see each other again after that. Like if you play a role-playing game at a convention or something. But because I'm doing an online extended campaign, when I say extended, we're gonna continue playing until either the game master, myself, or the players decide that there's no more story to be told. All right? Well, I have a very long, I call it epic, but it's not. What's the definition of epic? But I have like a very long story that I'm trying to tell, and that the players are coming along for the ride, like you said. And if these players are new school gamers, and I'm afraid one of them is, then he's not going to gel. When I say new school, I'm going to share a conversation. I'm not going to say who I had this conversation with or whatever, but the majority of my gamers have been gaming a long time, right? We're a bunch of fogies, right? Except for maybe Mason, he's a little bit younger. But we've been playing a long time, and we've noticed, and this was the topic of the conversation, we noticed that there has been a shift, a a gradual sliding of the Overton window of gamers not their not their political beliefs, that's not what I'm talking about, their the way they interact between players and game masters. There's been a gradual, and this is slowly but surely happening over time, where in the old days, okay, and I'm going to say in my game currently, the way I like to play or run a game is if the game master is the master of his world, right? He runs everything. The weather, the monsters, the NPCs, the economy, everything. And the players enjoy this world by interacting with the world. Okay, we can stop right there. So what that means is, and that's the thing that's been changing. What that means is the change. Okay, I don't know how I want to share this with you guys, but the change is that the players are getting more and more agency over their characters, which I agree with to a point. I don't look at the characters as a possession of the player. You're saying, what? But they made it. It's their character. Well, is it? No, it's not. You are, as a player, you are a guest in the game master's world. You are an outsider. You are a participant. It is not a mutual undertaking for the player to tell the game master what happens in the world. It is for the player to tell the game master what he would like his character to do, and then the game master to tell the player what happens. Not the other way around. And in modern role-playing, now I'm basing this on live streams, okay? And the reason why I say that is I've played a lot of games, but almost always as a game master. And I don't allow that kind of BS. So in my versions of the games, I don't encounter this. But I've recently joined a D&D game, and I have encountered it. And then I've also watched a bunch of live streams because I was I was big into, I still am big into role playing, and I enjoy watching other people role play because first of all, it gives me ideas as a game master. It's a good story is good to it's like watching a visual novel or whatever. You're enjoying the story as a bystander. Uh-oh. Something's going on with this brush. I'm gonna have to fix it. got a piece of dried paint stuck on one of the bristles, and it was causing that bristle to be all wanky. Okay, I think we're good. I think I've gotten it. Okay, now we're good. Okay, I'll get back to this topic in just one moment. Okay, it's cooled off enough for me to drink apple cider. Not only that, I had a Pop-Tart over here that I was snacking on before we got started, so. Well, I got. Mm-hmm. 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 I'm jumping around so much on this miniatures on this stick that I'm losing track of where I am and what I'm doing, so I'm gonna have to really double check my work when I get done with this, because I did like the feet on this guy and the foot on this guy, and then I started doing the arms over here. Okay, so the conversation that we had, and he was, and the reason why we had the conversation, because we lost a player, and I wanted to know, what was going on in the game behind the scenes. He acted like he was mad at me for some reason, and I didn't really get that during the game sessions. So I was wondering if he had shared that with anybody, like why he was mad at me or whatever. And the conversation, I went down the wrong way. The conversation evolved into he's a new school gamer, where I'm not giving him agency over his character the way he wants. And I was like, oh, really? Okay, well, he can go ahead and move on because I'm not giving him that agency. Now, I want my players to have agency over their character. I want them to be able to do whatever they want to do, or to not have any limitations on them in what they're allowed to do, that kind of stuff. But here's the but. I don't want them to tell me what the results of their doing of those actions. Right? So here's an example that we used, or he used on me, and I totally agree with this. In old school gaming, as a game master, you would design a room and you would say, okay, I've got this room. It's a bedroom, let's say. I got this bedroom. It's got a bed. It's a 4-poster bed. It's got this carpet on the floor. It's got a dresser and a table on the side, and on the table there's a burning candle, and then inside the top drawer there's a golden ring, and all of this is in my head, right? My game master I know what's in this room, right? The players don't know this. And then when they walk in the room, they like the player will say, "Okay, I go in the bedroom." And then I would say, "Okay, what you see is this room with the dominant feature is a bed. It's a four-poster bed, but there is a dresser on the side and a work table, and on the table you can see a burning candle. And in the middle of the floor, there's a rug with this mosaic on it, and it has, depictions of elves fighting dwarves, and a dragon in the background or whatever. Whatever is actually in the room, I would say. And that is old school. Okay, new school. And this is what he and I have both basically noticed. The world is kind of going off its rocker. It's getting unhinged. And players and game masters are starting to be very milquetoast, wet napkins, weak, lily-livered. They've become leftists. I don't know. I don't know what the word I want to say is, but these guys are all very weak. And this is what happens in the new game sessions. The player says, "Okay, I'm going to go in this room, and because there's a bed in the room." Now, he hasn't even been in the room yet, right? But he can assume there's a bed because it's a bedroom. But the player goes, "I'm going in the room, and I'm going to go look under the bed and find the sword. And then I'm going to take the sword and bring it out into the hall and walk past the guards, and they're not even going to stop me. And the reason why they're not going to stop me is because I look like one of the guards. And then when I get outside, I'll call over my friends and we'll take a close look at the sword, and I will see that there is a ruby on the sword." And remember, in my first description, the ruby was on a ring, but now all of a sudden it moved to this sword because the player wants to be the storyteller. And that's okay if a player wants to be a storyteller, but if they want to be a storyteller, they need to host a game. They don't need to be telling your story as a game master. And I've noticed that there are games out there online right now that you can go watch, and the game master will say things like, "Okay, you go in this room, what do you see?" What? As a game master, you don't ask a player what they see. You tell them what they see. It is interactive, but it's not interactive where they're also the game master. But I've noticed that the world, and he pointed it out to me, and I was like, you're absolutely right. Players or game masters are starting to get lazy, right? Because they don't have to write a story. They can just let you write the story. And I think that he might have been one of those kind of players. And then there's also, I don't know if you know me very closely, if you've been watching my channel a lot, I will throw out, and I'm not apologetic of this, but I am, what's the word I'm going to say? I'm not apologetic, because I'm going to continue to do it, and I'm aware that I'm doing it. But if it bothers you that I do this, then I don't care. I'm sorry for you being upset. I'm not sorry because I did it, if that makes sense. And my point is, what I do is every now and then, it's not regular, but I wish it was. I wish I did it like nonstop, constant. But I will put in my personal beliefs in my statements. And it will sometimes become political. Or, even worse, ideological. And he made a comment on his way out the door that I made the game political. And that was crossing the line. And I'm like, I don't remember ever making the game political. Other than the fact that there are kingdoms and that there are factions in the kingdoms that are vying for power in a vacuum. And I told him that on day one. Like, this is the nature of this game. You guys are in a feudal kingdom, and there are kings and dukes and earls, and there is a part of the game is that you will have to be political. You'll have to go to meetings with the king and the queen, and you'll have to talk to dukes and earls to get things done and stuff like that, because that's the kind of game it is. He knew that. So I don't think that's what it was. I don't think it's an in-game politics kind of situation. I think it was an out-of-game politics situation, because I posted a video on my Discord, not even in the role-playing section. I put it in the general chat area. And it was about a presidential candidate. I didn't put any words to it or anything. I just posted this video. And somebody else in the Discord, he's a member of the Discord, says, this is the reason why I like or dislike, or this is the reason why this video is good or bad, or whatever it was. I don't even remember, because it really wasn't that important. He did have a long, paragraph worth of comments, but it wasn't like negative, I shouldn't say negative, because it is negative, but it's not derogatory or hostile or anything like that. And I said, I agree. That's all I said. Because I do. Everything he said was exactly why I posted that video. I wanted people to be able to see this candidate. And I wanted them to know that I am aware of this candidate. And I would like them to be aware of him as well. I didn't. And if that posting of that video sparked it sparked something in him that couldn't be reconciled, and he had to quit the game, then I really feel for him. I really do. Um, he had a couple of episodes previous to this, nothing that we couldn't work out, you know. Um, I personally felt that he was playing his character a certain way that was perfectly legit. Was a perfectly legit way to play his character, and nothing wrong with it. I personally just thought it was kind of funny that he was playing it that way, and uh, he took that as me because I giggled at one point. He asked to do something. I giggled because I thought that was funny, and he took it as a slight on him that I thought he was being ridiculous or something, and that's totally not the case. I tried to explain to him that I understand that's your character doing the thing and not you, but he personally couldn't separate himself from his character. Um, and that's another thing. That's another new school thing. And I talked to him. Well, I didn't talk to him. I sent him a message saying I realized there was something going on, and you might be having some problems at home or personally at work or something, and you might have brought it into the game, and that's understandable. I do the same sometimes. Sometimes you can't control it. And if you need to talk to somebody about it, I'm here. I'm always available. And otherwise, just be careful because I don't want you to explode on the game or on me for no reason. And I never got a response to that or anything, so I don't know if he even ever saw that because that was a private message. I don't even know if he uses private messages on the Discord. I assume he does. I assume he read it and like was in his head. He just said, "Okay," and didn't feel like he needed to reply to that message. So that was kind of a red flag. And the second guy we lost, I had a red flag on him as well, but I overlooked it because he seemed like a really nice guy. And looking back on it, I wish I had acknowledged my red flag. I do this a lot. I even did this when I ran a online gaming community for MechWarrior Online. We had this online gaming community, and I hosted this, and I invited certain people, and there were red flags, but I ignored it because I was thinking I'm being too sensitive, right? I internalized their issues onto myself, and I swore to myself that I would never do that again, but I keep doing it. So this guy made a character, and during character creation, he kept saying a couple of different things that were very subtle and very innocuous, I guess is the word. It wasn't serious enough for me to make a call and say, oh, okay, well, maybe you wouldn't fit good in this game. Because he seemed like a really nice guy, and those things, I figured he would grow out of it, basically. Because I figured he would join the game, he would love the game, he would continue on forever. But his comment was, I normally only play a couple of sessions just to learn the rules. And I'm like, okay, no problem, come on, play the game with us and have a good time, blah, blah, blah. And I just kind of brushed it under the rug that he had said those things. And then, lo and behold, last week, he deletes his profile from Discord or blocks us so that we can't message him or communicate with him in any way. And then he does the same on Roll20, which is our system for running the game. Without a word. He didn't say goodbye. He didn't say... now, the week before he left, he did say that his work schedule is going to change for a little while because he's got to cover for another one of the guys at work. And I was like, that's okay, no worries. Take care of your business. You got to live your life, take care of that work. And then the following week, he just disappears without a word. And what came back to me was that conversation we had when he was making his character, in that he said he only plays a couple of sessions and then leaves. Now, he's a coward, and I'm going to unapologetically say this, because all he had to do was say, I'm not really having a good time. The game system is not for me. You guys all seem like a really good group of guys, but I feel like I'm not getting what I was hoping I was going to get out of this game system. So thank you for letting me play the games that I did play, and I'm going to bow out. He could have done that. And you know what I would have said? Okay. Understandable. It's not going to be for everybody. If you got to leave, leave. If maybe your work schedule's, during the game or something, like there's a major change where you can't attend the game. Okay, no problem. Your life comes first. Don't quit your job to come play a freaking role-playing game. So I get you. And that would have been all he would have needed to do. But nope, he just rage quit, is what it felt like. Like he dumped the game in Roll20. Then he went to our Discord and logged out of Discord. But not just logged out of Discord, he blocked everybody. That's a conscious decision. He's a coward. So one of the new players that I'm worried about is, and then I'll get back to historical miniature gaming. One of the guys is so proud of all the work he's done in Harn. He can't stop talking about it. Hey, I've done this. I've done that. Okay, and now I'm worried. This guy is a narcissist. If you're a narcissist, I don't care. You know I think I'm a little bit of a narcissist myself. I probably wouldn't have a YouTube channel if I wasn't. So I'm self-aware of that. But I don't get on people's games and non-stop talk about how great I am. So, having a psychological background, um, I don't know if any of you know this, but I went to college for psychology. I didn't finish because it was too psychologically damaging to me. but but I did go, and I learned a lot about psychology while I was there. And and you know why I did it? And this is strange. I didn't do it because I was wanting to get a job in psychology. I didn't want to be a psychiatric therapist or anything like that. I did it to make my understanding of players in my role playing games better. Can you believe that? I went to college to learn that. And you know what? It helped a lot. Okay, so now I'm sitting here psychologically analyzing this guy, right? There's a couple of reasons why, and narcissist is not the main one, but there are some reasons why he would get into our Discord amongst a bunch of people he doesn't know and start rattling these accomplishments off. A couple of them I don't worry about. I'm like, okay, that's perfectly fine. I understand where he's coming from. But one of them I'm worried about, and hopefully that's not the reason. And I'll share. One reason could be he's trying to fit in. Most role players have a social stigma that comes with being a geek or a nerd, and he might be a very big one. Okay, and by telling me his accomplishments, he is he is um, acknowledging that he is a geek and a nerd. We're all geeks, right? Well, we're all nerds playing this game, but now he says, I've done this and I've done that. That acknowledges him as a geek. And what is my definition of nerd and geek? Well, a nerd is someone who is into cerebral topics that the majority of the community are not also into, like spaceships or aliens or bugs or, just into anything like that, you're a nerd. Now, a geek is someone who has done work in that topic. So let's say you love comic books. Well, you're a nerd. But if you have drawn your own comic book, then you're a geek. Okay, so I feel like he's just trying to fit in because he probably doesn't have a whole lot of friends and he doesn't know us. He doesn't know anything about us. So he's trying to impress us to make us want to accept him in the group. And in effect, it actually is doing the opposite. It's making me worry about him and not want to accept him into the group. And that might be why he's a nerd, is because he does this a lot. I'm just guessing now. I don't know this guy like that. But he probably does this a lot, and he puts a lot of people off. And they get worried about him and don't accept them into their group. Now, the other reason why is maybe he's a narcissist and he just likes to let people know how great he is. And that's okay. I don't mind if somebody does that. You know, I'm the best. I'm the greatest there ever was. That's fine. That hasn't I don't care about any of that. So motivation matters is what I'm trying to say. Now, the one that worries me, and this is the one I'm not gonna allow into the game once I talk to him. If he's saying these things because he wants to run the game, or he wants to tell me how to run my game, or because he knows the game mechanics inside and out, and he knows some of the stories that we have already told, he has the potential to come in and say, well, that's not the way it is in the book. Well, actually, that's not the way we do it. You know, I played this game 25 times, and you're not supposed to move, 3 hexes and still attack. That's what I'm afraid is going to happen. And one of the reasons why I'm afraid that's going to happen is because even though I am rule-centric, I like that was a term that Mason used, even though I'm rule-centric, I also don't let the rules dictate what happens in my story. I'm telling a story, and I'm going to tell it. If you want to participate and play in my story, you can. It is not our story. It is my story. You are an actor in my play. You can say it's your play or it's your part in the play, but it's not your play. And I used to say to people, and this is partially my fault, I used to say that you're an impromptu actor, improv actor, right? And so you encounter a scene that the director gives you a scene, and then you improv what happens. And I've come to believe that is a new school way of doing things. You are not an improv actor. Well, you are in a way, but you don't have agency. What I mean by that is you can't tell the story. You participate in the story. Okay, enough of that BS. I don't want to dwell on that. But that's tonight. I told them on my Discord that I will be online. I will log in and we will talk and we will get to know each other. And then if we feel like it, maybe we'll make some characters. You know, that kind of stuff. Or we'll schedule a time to make characters. I don't want to commit to making characters. There was a lot of people that wanted to play, and I don't know how many of them. I can't accept all of them. And so I'm going to have to upset somebody. Okay, I'm going to take a bite off my snack, and then we will continue on with my Meg. These guys already look a lot less like ghosts. These are my ghost warriors, and these are my flesh and blood. Wow, it's taken me a long time just to do those. I'm actually really surprised at that. Now, even if nobody shows up and the house is still empty, we still only stream for a couple of hours. I have other things that I have to do, specifically for the store. Got some shipments that need to be taken care of. Plus, the Plastic Soldier Company stuff probably will be here any minute now that it's a little bit later. I think I saw that it's like close to 1:30. Is that right? And so usually after about 2 hours of streaming, I cut the stream off and go take care of some other business. I'm not going to have these finished on this stream. I didn't think I would, but I'll have them finished by tonight. If you are interested in seeing how my Meg armies progress, I recommend checking out my 15mm ancient playlist. In that playlist, I have a updates, my ancient updates, where when anything changes, like if I get some units finished, or some rules in, or some measuring sticks in, or something like that, I'll drop it in that playlist. Speaking of which, I have started the process of changing my channel, my eBay, not my eBay store, the YouTube channel. I started changing the channel, moving around the playlists, making different categories. Last night I struggled in making my banner. Basically, I took my eBay banner and I put it on my YouTube channel to use the same banner because I wanted to get rid of the Star Citizen banner that I had up there. And it just didn't want to fit properly. Their dimensions and everything were not the same. Like the requirements for eBay and YouTube are not the same. So it would stretch or it would crop. And so I decided to adjust it slightly so that it would fit. But that's not going to be the end. I'm going to actually have to Maybe make a bespoke banner for YouTube. That'll be a while. I'm not in any rush to do that. There is a video I want to make. I think I'm going to work on it tonight after hours, once everybody's gone to sleep. I'm going to make a video, which a couple of weeks ago I thought of this video, but I didn't write anything down, and now I regret it because I had some really good ideas. I should have wrote it all down. But basically what the video is going to be, it's going to be a YouTube channel introduction video. I have a YouTube channel introduction video on there right now, but it wasn't made to be the introduction video. It was chosen to be the introduction video. So I want to make a bespoke video that will be the channel introduction video. Basically, it's going to be generic. It's going to say things like, thanks for coming to my channel. This is what you'll see. However, if you check out my eBay store, we do commission work. I'm a painter for the last 50 years. Actually, probably not 50 years. Let's do some math. If I started painting in 1977, that's the truth. How many years is that? 23 gets me to 2000. And then 23 more gets us to 2023. So for 46 years, I've been painting. Wow. Wow. Almost 50 years. Dang. I was joking when I said 50 years. My paint technique has evolved over the years too. But so I plan to do a introduction video for the channel. It's actually a store video, but it's going to be the introduction video for this channel because I've decided to merge the two in that my channel on YouTube is going to be dedicated to my eBay store. Pretty much, not exactly 100%, but that's pretty much the truth. So yeah, go to the channel's evolving. Things are changing. I've already started moving playlists into new categories and stuff like that. I'm not done yet, but I've already started that process. I have a bunch of what's in the box videos recorded. I mean a bunch. I've got a bunch of them recorded, but I haven't edited them because I've been editing so many other videos, like the Xenonauts videos. But to be 100% transparent with you guys, I don't make money. Well, first of all, I don't really make that much money on YouTube. I do make some pocket change, maybe about $30 a month. That's nothing. But I noticed that the videos that I get the most views on are not my gaming videos, my computer gaming videos. They're my miniature videos. Miniature painting, tutorials, hobby related videos is where I'm getting all my views. So it just makes perfect sense, as Fauci would say, to make more of those videos, all right, and less of the others. It just makes perfect sense. Um, I like to think of my, and now I'm going to get political just for a second. I'm not going to express anything positive or negative. Just understand that I am a political creature. I pay attention to what's going on around me in the world. And that I would say I'm a conservative. That leans towards libertarian. And one of the reasons why I say that is because I believe the Democratic Party has been infiltrated, taken over, or they've changed in a negative way. And that's the way I roll. So if that bothers any of you, or if you stop watching me because of it, okay, no problem. But if you're okay with that, I will try not to make that a big deal on my channel, but it is a big deal to me personally. So what do you guys think about these aliens? Are you guys watching the whistleblower hearings where they talk about how the US has over a dozen crashed vessels of unknown origin? And there were pilots. Wait, I hear the mail. But I don't think, and yeah, my plastic soldier's not coming via mail. It's actually UPS, I do believe. So it actually might already be out there. Yeah, it might have came already. Yeah, so after the stand, I'm going to go out there and check the mail. Now, the mail, because I've got good hearing, when the mail is on the opposite side of the road going north, actually, I guess that's more, technically, that's more east, northeast, east, northeast, whatever. When, when it's going in that direction, I I can still hear it as if it was on my side of the road. So my guess is he's probably going up the road and he hasn't come back down yet. Yeah, so aliens. Do I believe there are aliens or even Less so, do I feel that there are intelligent life out in the galaxy? I do. I really do. I'm a God-fearing Christian, but I still believe this. Just because God created earth and man in his own image and all that doesn't mean that if God wanted to, he could have also created an alien. Right? Are you telling me that God is limited? That he can't do this? Don't give me that. Don't give me that kind of BS. When you say we were created in his own image, it doesn't mean we look like him. That's not what that means. It doesn't mean, we have two eyes and two arms and hair and legs because God does. His image that he's talking about, I believe, and this is my belief, you can believe it or not, but I believe his image, he's talking about like spiritually. Our spirit, our energies, as Ian would say. Okay. So, whoops, no. I was going to say this base is done. It is not. It is now. Okay. All right. So give me like 2 seconds. I'm going to get up. I'm going to step off. And I'm going to go see if I've got a plastic soldier box. And then I'm going to go see if my arm is down from the packages that I was shipping. Then I'll be right back. 2 minutes. I'm coming back with a big box. Weighs like 100 pounds. Okay, I'm bringing it. Oh my gosh. You can see it. I don't know if you can see it, but okay, well, it's heavy because I ordered a ton of books. It's not heavy because of miniatures. Even though there are miniatures in there. Whew, it's almost all books. Okay, I'm excited. Get my invoice off the top of here. There we go. Okay, battle group, blah, 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 blah. Extra dice, that's good. Elephants, classical Greek hoplites. Nice, I needed those for my Macedonians. Spanish Scutari. I need that for both Carthaginians and mid-republicans. Now the Spanish, I don't think I'm going to be keeping. I think I'm going to sell them because they're new items. The Spanish Scutari, Centrati. Oh, Balearic Slingers. I don't know why I got those, but okay. It's only one page. It feels like it's two. Okay, here we go. Well, the second page just says this is how much shipping was. Okay. Spanish Cavalry, Command Pack, Scutari Infantry, Pack Breaker. The Athenians, I think I'm going to keep. Now, I ordered two dice sets. I ordered 2 dice sets. I think I'm going to also order, maybe in my next order, the quick reference sheets. Because, I don't know if you know this, but I have right here in my hot little hands a Maximus and Magna Mortem Gloriam book. And, whoops. And I can get more of these. And I've already ordered 3 more of these, which is going to go on the store. So if you are excited, as I am, about wonderful ancient gaming, this is a great set of rules. And this version of the game, because I've also got a compendium edition that I am working with, which is a hardback, that's no longer in print. And that's good because there is a ton of typos and in that set of rules. But as I went through this set of rules, there's only one word that I think is being misused, but everything else seems to be great. They use a word called alternately. And alternately does not mean what I think it, I don't think you know, wait, how does the saying go? I don't think it means what you think it means. Because what they want it to mean is one player goes, another player goes, and then it goes back and forth. That's not alternate. That's not alternately. Alternately means you can do it this way or this way. Not repeating. It should say there should be a word called alternate. So you alternate back and forth, or alternatingly, not alternately. It should say alternatingly. But that's the English major coming out of me. Okay, so let's go to this box. Oh my gosh, it's so heavy, it won't even turn on its side. Okay, this has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 boxes taped together to make one big bundle. Plastic Soldier likes doing that. Okay. Oh my gosh. Okay. I'm struggling with the weight of it. going to put it on its side. This box is crumbling, so I don't know if... Hopefully whatever's in that box is not going to suffer from the crumble. I'm going to cut all these boxes off. Separate them, make them a little bit more easy to manage. Oh, and the mail, it hadn't run yet because I looked out at our mailbox and the flag was still up. Okay, so that's not an actual box. That's a corner of a box to strengthen the packaging, I guess. Okay. Couple of those. What is this on the bottom? This is like a plastic thing to strengthen the box. That's interesting. I've never seen anybody do that. They've included like a little plastic corner of these boxes. Might have to hold on to those. Might be able to use them myself in the future. Maybe not, but got a couple of those. Okay, nice. Okay, this side I've already cut. Okay. It's like Christmas. It's hard to get into this thing. Okay, another one of these. Interesting. That's the third one. Looks like there's 4 of them. They didn't want the corners to be crushed. That's good. That's all 4 of those. Another one of these. I got 4 of them apparently. Okay, so all 4 of those are off. Okay, there's one box. That's the one that I kept crushing. Okay. Yikes. Okay, this box is heavy, so it's probably books. There's only 3 boxes. The other things I was noticing was those spacers. I thought they were books. Okay, this is a bunch of battle group books. Okay, so that's one box empty. And it's heavy as hail. Wargaming in miniature. Hey, that's me. now that I've got this box in, I think I probably should go pay for it. More books? It's got to be, because this is all... Yeah. Okay, more books. Because those two boxes were heavy. Whew. Okay, with them. Now, I've seen all those books before. This is the box that was a little bit... seen a little bit better days. Okay. Half of the weight that they use is tape. Okay, now I think I can just manhandle it. Maybe not. There we go. Put that away. What do we got in here? Some bubble wrap. That's always good. A lot of bubble wrap. Okay. Dice set 01 you need for Meg, and I got dice set 2, just like they said. Now these are all, none of these are in boxes, these are all in bags. Very interesting. Classic Hoplites unit. Yeah, see, they're in bags. They look pretty good just through the... Okay, the shields are separate. Okay, let's get rid of this. I should be wearing this to get actual close views of what I'm looking at. Yeah, and don't forget, I am going to be doing what's in the boxes on all these, so you'll get your own personal accounting. This looks like Carthaginian elephants. There's 2 of them. The elephants are solid. They're not like an assembly thing. That's good. Now the howdah that goes on the back of the elephant, that's a separate piece. Oh, wait. Okay, there's a couple of guys that definitely look like they're Greek. Then again, the Carthaginians did wear a lot of Greek armor, right? But I could easily make that... okay, there's only 2 guys that are Greek. What are these? I guess they're supposed to be shields. No, that's ear. Okay, you got to assemble the ears. I guess that's one way to make it Greek or Indian, because the ear sizes would be different. Yeah, got a couple of spearmen. And then you got a couple of drivers. And a couple of archers. Yeah, that's these guys. Okay. Here's a big unit. Spanish cavalry unit. Wow, okay, those guys look really good. The horses look really good. Yeah, that's a big bag. I'm going to have to... Yeah. Wait, did I get 2 elephant packages? I guess I did. There's another elephant pack. Spanish Cetrati. This is a pack breaker. The Cetrati look like javelin men. A pack breaker is usually... Okay, Scutari pack breaker. Okay, here's the Cetrati. There's a Cetrati unit, which... usually you get enough figures to do a whole unit, and then the pack breaker is like a third of that, or something like that. I'll have to take a look. Okay, now these Spanish... This says Balearic Slingers. Yeah, they're the Balearic Islands is off the coast of Spain, right? This is not a pack breaker. It says times 12. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yep, there's 12 of them. They have some really good detail on them. Wow, really good detail on those. Spanish cavalry pack breaker. There's 3 horses. So 1 stand, basically. Command. It's got a couple of foot... Okay. We've got Princess Leia in there. What is that? Yeah, it looks like Princess Leia with her buns on her ears. Maybe that's a priest or something? I don't know what that is. But you've got like 1... 2. Okay, that guy's kneeling. But you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guys standing, and then 1, 2, 3 guys on horse. The guys standing, they've got some really good detail. Okay, I'm very impressed with these Ultracast guys. But I haven't opened them up and actually pulled them in close on the camera to see exactly what they look like. But just looking at them, this is the Scutari. Just looking at them in the bag, they look outstanding. Oh my gosh, I got my night cut out for me. I'll be making these videos tonight. Scutari pack breaker. Okay. Okay, so that looks good. Don't need all this bubble wrap, but I'm glad it was in there because this package was the one that kept getting crushed. Okay, so majority of these Spanish, they're going to be going up on the store, just so you know. Maybe not tonight, because I want to do some what's in the box videos on them, And then immediately after that, they'll be going up on the store. Except for the Athenian hoplites. Where'd they go? Classical Greek hoplites. Okay. But on the website it calls them Athenians. I don't see any spears in their hands. I see places to put spears. And I don't see any spears as part of the plastic. Well, that's why I've got the metal. So I can make my own spears. And they've got a variety of different... Okay, there's shields. Oh my gosh. Plus, it looks like you're going to have to wash these. Because it feels like they are... I mean, it's in the bag. But I can just visualize that it's got some mold release on it. Gonna have to wash those. Well, I might be working on these next because I'm excited about that. Now this guy, okay, he just doesn't have a helmet on. He kind of looks like he could easily have a shield and a spear in his hand. Oh, no, wait, that is a helmet. Okay, that's one of those Corsican helmets. Okay. Yeah, all these guys, those guys are unarmored. These guys are armored. Okay, so it's got a mix. Ooh, and that guy's got a giant plume. All three of those guys do. Okay, well, I'm excited. I'm definitely excited about that. We'll be looking at that. The dice are... I don't need any more dice, so the dice are definitely going on the store. Look for these rules. I'm going to be getting them in. It's probably going to be a couple of weeks because it takes a little bit for them to ship them. Let's see where we're at on time. Okay, we're over time because I started at noon, so it's 2 o'clock. I'm going to go ahead and knock these out off camera, and I got some chores I need to take care of. So thanks for coming out and hanging out with me and keeping me company, and I will see you... Well, I've got a bunch of videos that I need to upload, so you'll see those. But once I get these done, I'll do a Ancients update, and you'll get to see them fully painted and based and everything. But look for those What's in the Boxes coming soon. And also, I've got some hard plastic Ancients coming in from Plastic Soldier Company, but that's they're not offering that wholesale to retailers. This was wholesale, so this is like me as a retailer ordering this to sell on the store. But I personally wanted to get some of their hard plastic Ancients, which is Cromarty's Forge. I don't know if you're familiar with these guys. I'm not. So I ordered a smattering of packages from them to see exactly what they look like when they come in. And if I know Plastic Soldier Company, they're always top notch. They wouldn't offer it on their website if it wasn't good models. So I just hope they are. But they're limited to what they offer. They only have mid-Republicans and early Imperials. They have something called late Republic. Let me rephrase it. They have something called late Romans, which is actually after the Imperials. The time period that I was wanting was in between the mid-Republicans and the early Imperials. There's a spot in the middle called late Republicans, and I really wanted to flesh out my late Republicans, so that I could do Caesarian Romans, the legions basically. But I think what I'm going to do is focus and finish my mid Republicans, so that we can fight Carthaginians and Macedonians and the Germans and pretty much everybody with mid Republicans. Uh, I was trying to do the Caesarian Romans, which I've got a ton of figures for that, but I was trying to do the Caesarian Romans so that I could pair them up against the Germans and play the Black Powder campaign, which is Caesar in Gaul, right? Which I have. I have the Caesar, or the Battles of Caesar, or something like that, which it's for Black Powder, which is a different scale. I was gonna adjust it the way Black Powder, the units, okay, in Black Powder are not legions, they are cohorts. They're a part of a legion, and they have like 5 cohorts represents a legion. And so if you have 15 cohorts on the table, you have 3 legions on the table, and all of their scenarios, which is strange, but pretty much every one of their scenarios are exactly the same units. Where they enter, where they exit, what the objective is, what kind of terrain is, that's all different, but the units are all exactly the same. So I figured it would be easy for me to just put that campaign together. I could do both sides and just play with a variety of different maps and stuff. Now, Meg, which I feel is a superior set of rules, it's different though. It's not it's better for me, but it's not like better overall. They're both good sets of rules. Really, they're both good sets of rules. But Meg is your unit on the table, the tug or whatever, is a legion. So each one of these groups that you're moving around, like if this was one unit, it would be a legion, and if this was another unit, it would be another legion, right? So if I was playing those scenarios with Meg, there would only be 3 groups on the table because there would be 3 legions, like their scenarios all have. But that's not enjoyable. I don't think that would be very fulfilling. So what I was thinking was I would take the cohorts that are on the scenarios and just call each one a legion, right? Or I was thinking I would just build an army per the Meg rules, which is really what I'm doing. That's what I've settled upon. I'm going to build an army per the Meg rules, and then pit them against each other via the army lists, and not necessarily the scenario army list, if that makes sense. All right, guys. So I think I am going to do mid-Republicans and not worry about that Gaelic campaign, because yeah, we can just have one-off battles. We don't have to necessarily do the campaign. All right, I will catch you in the next video. You guys have a great rest of your Monday.